So I'm here with Jonathan from City Farm Systems, and congratulations on your award, Jonathan.
Thank you very much.
Could you tell me a little bit more about the business?
Yes, okay. So City Farm Systems is all about giving a better than net zero solution to help feed a smart city. So every heavily occupied building needs to provide food for their people, and also is already paying to dump the perfect conditions for a greenhouse. So rather than have a remote greenhouse and a very carbon intensive supply chain, we can actually make the building more efficient by consuming carbon from their Scope 1 emissions to avoid all related Scope 3 emissions. And that allows us to avoid the final mile, which is the only reason for the transit-only packaging. So that means that transit-only packaging is of no interest to the consumer, and why pay to actually have to remove it again afterwards. So we avoid the need to pay for many items that others are having to, and make the whole process more efficient. And it means we can actually overcome, and tomorrow isn't it, the introduction of the wider ULEZ bit. So many cities are introducing access charges, so we've got the actual capability to take trucks off the road.
And in terms of reducing our carbon footprint, that sort of headline here, can you tell us more about the net zero aspect of what you're trying to achieve?
Of course. Well, it was Mike Barry was at Marks and Spencer's, head of their Plan A, was talking during lockdown about how farms were actually reaching net zero at the farm gate. But when you look at the items like lettuce, if the supply chain creates far more emissions than the actual growing. So, for instance, for those countries that have to air freight lettuce, or that's the one that particular we have a statistic for, air freighting lettuce costs 127 calories for every calorie delivered. So that's a huge overhead that we can actually show is unnecessary.
And City Farm Systems is trying to optimise these processes for these company clients that you're working with. What is how good is the uptake? Are people keen to get on board, as it were?
It's very interesting. We're encouraged to carry on every day by some of the top people, but unfortunately the investors are not yet ready, having been seduced by those looking at vertical farming who think they have the answers, but unfortunately there's lots of ways in which they cannot address the SDGs. So we like to make healthy food affordable and hand shelf life to the consumer, and that's all part of what we can unlock with our data approach, because obviously we're not going to be able to have people on a supermarket roof or a hotel roof, and we can then look at using our data in much more effective ways and unlocking the benefits that can only be found by growing at point of need.
And in terms of City Farm Systems, what makes you unique from others that are in the space and perhaps trying to fix this problem?
Really, it's down to our ability to avoid that final mile, which practically every teenager is taught is the most expensive, and that's where you come into, of course, again, the access charging, which many cities are introducing. So we have a solution that fits almost any major city, and we can help feed a smart city using the technology they're also heavily involved in. And it's that ability to be more effective, help feed, and make healthy food affordable, and handing that shelf life over that can only be found by growing at that point of need.
Okay. Well, congratulations on your award, and thanks for speaking to us today.
Thank you very much.
Good man.